is Rising Higher, Growing Deeper. And for the month of May, love this, raise your voice, lift it up. Our title of our talk today is Boundary Keepers, Nurturing Healthy Connections. And it will be given by our wonderful Reverend Charlene Banks. We are so glad that you took some time out of your day to join us. I know there's a lot of things going on. It's spring, but for now, just sit back, relax. That to-do list will wait for a little while, and enjoy our welcoming video.
Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind and the power of our minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be of service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is.
All right, so now is the time for our meditation. Before I go into that, I just want to remind you that if you have any prayer concerns or celebrations that you would like to be included when we do our prayer later in our service, please post them in the chat, and Reverend Charlene will include them when we do our spiritual mind treatment, which is a form of affirmative prayer. Wanted to remind you about that. All right, so happy Mother's Day to one and all. And even if you are not a biological mother, when I think of the word mother, I think of anyone who mentors or guides, supports, because those are attributes that we think of and connect to that feminine energy, the mothering. So happy Mother's Day to one and all. For our meditation today, I picked one where we seek guidance from our ancestors. So I'm going to encourage you to think of a special ancestor, somebody who has transitioned, but you hope you know plays a key role in your life. Love never ends. So sit back, relax, take a deep breath, inhale, and hold, and release. And let's do that one more time. Inhale, and hold, and release. Just getting us into that perfect state of mind for our meditation. Now, how appropriate that there are trees. I love the timing of this because I'm going to ask you to visualize a tree. So I always picture the beautiful tree that has a face on it in the Disney movie Pocahontas. But you can picture any tree that you want to. Maybe you have a favorite tree. Maybe it's in your yard. Maybe it's in a favorite hiking trail. Or maybe you can just create a tree. And I want you to think that this tree is magical. It has a door in it because it is a portal. When you walk through that door that's in the tree, it allows you to go to a different place. And where you're traveling to is a place where your ancestors are gathered. So they're gathered around, let's picture a beautiful nighttime ceremony. There's a beautiful bonfire in the center. And you can tell that this is not just an everyday event. They've gathered here because they've been expecting you. And as you approach this gathering, one of the people, one of your ancestors, breaks away from the group and comes up to just give you a very, very special greeting. And this is where you can decide, who is this ancestor? Is it your mother? Is it a favorite aunt? Is it a grandmother? Maybe you were even lucky and you knew your great grandmother. Or maybe you've just heard stories. But pick a female ancestor who you are meeting at this time, and she has something to share with you. Do you have that person? Good, I have mine. So ask your ancestor about something that maybe you're dealing with right now. What do you have that you can tell me? What wisdom, what guidance, what direction can you point me toward? What is something that you need to tell me to help me as I weave my way through my daily life? And I'll give you a moment to just sit and have a conversation with this ancestor. What are you here to give me? This conversation can continue anytime that you want it to continue. But we can't spend too much time. So hopefully you got something from your ancestor that can guide you through this week, through the month ahead. And maybe before we say goodbye, is there something that you've brought? What gift can you give? It's Mother's Day, but we're not limited to giving gifts to our mothers. We can give gifts to anybody who mentors us and supports us. So maybe there's a gift that you have for this special ancestor. What gift can you give? And if you need an idea, maybe it's, I will honor you. I will remember you. I will take the qualities that I like about your life and use them in my life. I will take some of the lessons that you experienced while you were living and learn from them and build them into my life. I will remember you. I will honor you. now, because the sun is setting on our screen. That's my signal that it's time for us to return. But please keep in mind as you leave this gathering, wave goodbye to everyone. But they know that they're always here. And they know that you're always welcome to come back anytime that you need to. So, come back to us, join us, and enjoy this music.
Oh God, I stand for you and I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God is the sun, God is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all and all, needing us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. All that I want you to do is command my hands. What must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. And God needs us to shine its light. God needs us to shine its light. God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Cheryl Renee. It never disappoints. Let me know if you can hear me okay, everybody. Okay, good. So good morning and happy Mother's Day. Thank you, Tamara, for that beautiful little visualization, because I got some pretty good insight there. I'm like, thank you for the tips, ancestor. And I love that you kept saying ancestor. I don't know if you noticed that. You say ancestor, and I'm like, is it going to be women? And you were right. It could be just me and listening a little too intently to what I want to hear. But I'm so grateful that you're here, and however you are celebrating, whether, like Tamara said, whether you are actually one who has birthed a human, or one that has birthed an idea, or has inspired anyone, and I think that's all of us. I just wish you a happy Mother's Day. So today's topic, boundary keepers. Say, what now, boundaries? Why, what would that be? I know last week Reverend Melinda talked about do we ever have a problem using our voice? And do we ever have a problem speaking up? When do we come to times when we don't really want to share what we think? And everybody typed into the chat the different scenarios where we feel that we cannot use our voice. Typically it was, I'm not sure I'm going to be respected, or what would they think? Maybe I'm not allowed to have an opinion. And so she got us together last week when it comes to knowing that we do have a right to exist. We can take up space, we can speak our voice, our opinion into the world and expect to be respected. Sure, that's great. And when you start doing that, you start to feel a little better that maybe I am speaking into existence the life that I do want. And then of course, that has to do with our own selves. Of course, Reverend Melinda helped us to sort of think about Neville Goddard's example of the woman who visualized what she wanted, and she really wanted to go overseas to sit at the feet of a teacher, but it would cost a lot of money. And so she visualized and visualized this lady in the story until she felt it in her bones. She knew it was hers, and then it arrived. She got what she needed in order to pay for the trip. And of course, Neville Goddard is one of our leaders, thought leaders, a good 100 years ago. Neville Goddard, one of the New Thought teachers. In fact, he says in this quote, "The world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is." Wow. The world will persist in putting before you whatever you affirm is before you. Yep. We had a little mini session last Wednesday. It was the affirmation workshop where we talked about how to write an affirmation because what you believe to be true, you will make true. And it sounds like magic, I know, but it really isn't magic. I mean, right? And didn't someone say that any technology that is not fully understood seems like magic? Yes, that's true. But we know that the spiritual technology of getting our thoughts, our beliefs, and our whole sense of being in this world, getting that in alignment with what we want. When you align what you think about, that becomes what you bring about. So, the dog is slurping water, excuse me. So, the thinking, therefore, is if I can hold the right idea in my mind, that's me persisting in an affirmation of what the world is. And then, of course, the world, what does it do? It will persist in exhibiting before you exactly what you believe it to be. And that's powerful. And so now let's talk about boundaries, because that is another issue that we must address. When we have a whole month talking about using our voice, a lot of times once you get together what it is you do want and you make yourself in alignment with what it is you do want and you never speak out loud that which you do not want to experience, what about those other people? They keep yelling things at you. All right, they're not yelling it, they're doing it with their eyes. They are saying things or acting in a way. So now it comes down to what's mine to do. There's this boundary that I have, and I know that, I don't know this, I'm assuming, maybe you are aware of the 3-foot bubble that you have around yourself. Like if you were to extend your arms out and just kind of imagine you spinning around in a circle, that's the degree of energy, that's the boundary of energy that you're responsible for putting out in the world. When you want to change your energy and you want to change how people experience you, you know that we talk about meditation, we talk about affirmations, we talk about getting ourselves aligned and remembering who we really are. And then we show up in a world that feels a little different. People feel a little different when they come around us. But what about those people who may or may not be on the same path? Those people who may step on your toe. Now, I love this analogy of stepping on your toe. Forgive me if you've heard it before. If someone is walking or standing in front of you in line at the airport, or somehow in your space within your 3 feet, and they step on your toe, they did something and it hurt you. I imagine you can feel, you have feeling in your foot. I imagine this is true. And it hurts. So here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to just say inside your head, ow, 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 and then smile and pretend nothing's happening. You see, that's the opposite of setting a boundary. Setting a boundary looks like this. Ow! Sorry if my sharp yell shocked you. I'm gonna need you to say it with your chest. Ow, you're standing on my foot. Now you do that because you need to express feedback. People need feedback, man. If you don't give them feedback, how do they know they're hurting you? Now, this stepping on your toe part is pretty obvious. It's pretty easy. I purposely start there because now we need to discuss another level. You're setting a boundary physically. When people do something that hurts you, you give them immediate feedback. And then hopefully you teach them a bit of a lesson. Now, I'm not saying smack them, but give them feedback. Tell them what you will not accept. I'm going to need you to step off of my foot. And to the degree that you need to, you can get a little salty with it, but I don't recommend you starting there. Have someplace to go. Don't start at 10 because nobody can go anywhere from 10. Start at 1 and see if you need to escalate. But now, what if the person or the situation is not physically bothering you, but you feel some kind of way in here? And maybe you've tolerated this kind of treatment up until now, and then now you've decided, yikes, I've gotten more in alignment with what I do want for myself. And what I do want for myself is peace. I want to be able to breathe, to relax, to start my morning with a meditation and then a cup of tea. And then I'm going to walk outside for 15 minutes barefoot in the grass. That's what I've decided for myself because it makes me a much nicer person. But now I've got this family member or whoever that is making a demand on me. And this might be a grown person, or it might be someone who's old enough to be told, not right now. And so, yikes, as people who may have been conditioned in a little bit of a people-pleasing sort of posture, it's a little harder to set that boundary. And I say, let's do it anyway. This is the Boundary Keepers conversation. And what's the second part of the title of this talk? Nurturing healthy connections. Healthy, starting with you, and then letting it spread to the other people around you. So we're going to teach people how to treat us by gently setting and then maintaining that boundary. So it could look like, oh, honey, I know that you really want me to come and blah, 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 and I'm going to need about 30 minutes and I'll see you then. End of discussion. Not asking, may I have 30 minutes? No, no, no. I'm going to need 30 minutes, and just setting up that sort of thing and being consistent with our boundary, because we deserve it. We deserve to be healthy, to treat ourselves the way we want to be treated. And we'll be the first one to model that behavior for the others who are watching, for the others who have these boundaries, new boundaries. I'm no longer able to just come and do what I want when I want to do it, no matter how busy she looks. Now, all of a sudden, there's a boundary, there's a fence. Is there a boundary? Well, their job is to push it to see if it's real. And our job is to hold steady. And that means that we have to be more committed to our own personal healthy connection to ourselves, more committed to that than we are in upholding some unhealthy, interdependent, or maybe codependent if it's like that. We are more responsible for keeping ourselves to our high vision of our lives and then helping other people, rather than just martyr it, just do everything other people need you to do. Eventually, you'll get your own rest. That never works. Never works out. In fact, every time I know you've experienced this, every time we don't say something and we allow people to dance upon that boundary and push it as if it doesn't exist, every time we allow it, it just builds and builds and builds, and it's got to come out. And when it comes out, yikes, it came out wrong. And now I'm on 10, and now I have to apologize. And guess what's lost in the message? The actual valuable boundary that should have been set and held. That gets lost, and now it becomes the whole power struggle again. This is true for work, for home, for any relationship that you're currently in. And isn't life just all about relationships? It really is. Everything is always about relationships. Brene Brown has something to say about this. She says, there are always boundaries, even in the wilderness. She says, when we commit to getting closer, we are committing to eventually experiencing real face-to-face conflict, whether it's over dinner, at work, in the grocery line. In-person conflict is always hard. It's always uncomfortable. And when it comes to family, she says, it's even harder and more painful. If your family is anything like mine, says Brene Brown, you've been required to summon love and decency in the face of emotions that range from minor frustration to pure rage. So maintaining the courage to stand alone when necessary in the midst of family or community, or maybe in the midst of angry strangers, she says it feels like an untamed wilderness. When she gets to the point where she's like, screw this, it's just too hard, I'm too lost, she says she hears Maya Angelou's words again. The price is high, the reward is great. All right, so Brene Brown, just a little more. I know it's a long quote, but it's super good. She says, but here's a question that came up for me during this research. Where is the line? Is there a line in the wilderness between what behavior is tolerable and what isn't? The reward may be great, but do I have to put up with someone tearing me down or questioning my actual right to exist? Is there a line that shouldn't be crossed? The answer is yes. Final paragraph here. Participants who put true belonging into practice talked openly about their boundaries. Participants in her research. She said the research confirmed that what she found in her earlier work. The clearer and more respectable boundaries, the higher the level of empathy and compassion for others. Fewer clear boundaries, less openness. It's hard to stay kind-hearted when you feel people are taking advantage of you or threatening you. Now, I love this last sentence. If you have fewer clear boundaries, you're going to be less open. It reminds me of a story. Someone told me about setting boundaries for my then 3-year-old. And this child, I don't know if you met him, but he's a lot. He's smart. He'll out negotiate you. It was a whole game. It kind of still is, but it's fine. So what I learned this story about boundaries. They made the analogy of fences. And the people who were teaching me parenting said this. There was a study. They took a backyard. Imagine a field, a little kindergarten playhouse with adults and children, and they play outside at break. They've got tricycles and they've got a slide. In the back, it's like a long hill, a rolling mountain. And they found that when they had no fence, those children played closer to the building than they could have. The actual boundary wasn't real clear, so they weren't sure how far they could go, and they were afraid of getting lost. People tend to be a little more fearful if there's no boundaries. But then they put up a fence, and now the kids are playing Red Rover. They're playing hide and seek. They're leaning up against the fence, pushing against the fence. They're counting. They're with their face against the back fence. They're using all the space because it's clear where that space begins and ends. And while it's the opposite of what you might think, that someone with no boundaries might just go wild, no, they felt less free with no boundaries. They feel more free with clear boundaries, and yikes, what an analogy. Now it's also true that when you do set boundaries, not of the fence sort, but of the I will tolerate this, but I will not tolerate that. When you set those kinds of boundaries, well, people tend to push to make sure they're real. They will push to make sure that they're real. So if you have set any sort of boundary, like for example, you're not to raise your voice at me. And that happened in my house. I think the boy's voice dropped. He went from ha 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 to hey, what's up? And I thought, okay, all right, that's interesting. And then something happened and he got mad, and this man was in my house yelling at me with some bass in his voice. I was like, okay, you got two choices, my dude. One, you take that bass out your voice, talk to me like a human being. Or two, well, you know what happened to the last one that tried that around here. I just went there. You don't get to live here. He was like, okay, got it. He's not stupid. So we get to set our boundaries and just check in with yourself. Feel what you feel, and then we do not just swallow it and go, oh yeah, everything's fine. No, we do not. Everything's not fine. And we don't do that. We allow people to treat us the way that we taught them to treat us. All right, there's another analogy I want to give you because I can't help myself. Analogies are just rife within me. If you've ever played with artificial intelligence, have you ever practiced with the prompting of any one of these? There's like 4 really popular AI. Now, many people use it for fun. Some people use it for work. It's very useful. However, without clear instructions, the answer is not going to be something that you want. And so with these AI tools, we learn to prompt properly. We give it a role. We say, you give them a role. You are an experienced network administrator. You want to give it a mission. And then, if you really want, teach this thing how to answer you. Give them an example. When I question this, you answer like that. If I ask this, you ask like that. And then give it another question, and it answers like that. That's what we're doing. It's just an analogy. It's like a mirror of the whole universe. When we start looking for what it is we want from the divine, what do you call it? The infinite, God, or Shiva, what do you call the divine? That is the place where we could say, here's what I want to experience. Here's what I see myself doing. Here's how I would like my life to be. and then really get into that feeling of it. And then it responds in kind. But we have to initiate that, or else we're just going to be flapping around, just kind of getting, because we're not really sure what we think or what we want. We're just going to be all over the place. But when we narrow our vision of who we are, narrow our vision to where we're only interested in what we do want and what we would like, and how we would love to see it show up in the world, what we would like to feel like when it shows up in the world, then that becomes the blueprint. It becomes the framework. It becomes the outline. It does become the boundaries within which you're setting, and that the universe says yes, and then within that boundary brings you that feeling, that desired outcome or better. Because you're asking from a place of alignment, from a place of I deserve this. It's not like I'm coming and begging, please. No, it's coming in with a strong back and a soft front and a confident posture, knowing that you're worth it, and then requesting and accepting and giving gratitude for that which you've already received in spirit. So then it has no choice but to show up in the physical world as that thing. Like Neville Goddard said, we are starting with our expectation, our affirmation, with the mental equivalent of what it is we want, and then the universe always says yes and dresses it up. It's as if you've created a frame, and the universe puts all the stuff around that frame. It is a 1-2, but we take that first step. And it's great because we step to the divine, and the divine steps toward us. With every action, the reaction is yes, and it's the perfect like improv partner. You say this, yes, and that. And so that's what we're doing. And in a personal way, we're aligning our minds and our souls with what we want. And then outside, we will respectfully tell people when they are pushing past some boundary that we've already communicated. And then we don't want to do it wrong, but there are ways. I mean, sure, there'll be times when we kind of communicated that wrong. Maybe we shouldn't have said it that way. But when you clearly define the boundary, because we've already understood why we need that boundary, of course, in a straightforward way, we explain it to people, not apologetically, but just with my son, I was like, all right, you need to take that bass out your voice. I did say it a little bit aggressively. I did say it. I was about at a 4. But in a perfect world, you would have had a conversation up front, and then you could refer back to this time when we both rationally discussed what we expected from this thing. And in the Big Bang Theory, they had a roommate agreement. It was a great idea, a contract. What I expect from you. It was a little weird, but in general, not a bad idea. What do we expect from each other? And with a calm and polite tone, communicating this boundary. And then, if you need to adjust them as time goes by, do that. And then, of course, address it immediately if somebody does violate that. It could be as easy as, all right, I'm not sure you noticed, but I did notice that and I thought we agreed the blah, blah, blah. Just don't make anybody wrong. Sure, just point it out, because everyone's supposed to test it. That's their job. So, in a nutshell, we come up with who we are and what we desire, expecting the universe to bring us exactly what we know that we deserve and already have. And then in our personal relationships, we set those boundaries and we expect people to push against them, and then we just maintain those boundaries. It's a dance. Now, next week when I see you again, I will discuss how to politely or how to effectively push back when you see some conflict, how to successfully step in a safe way, whether it's your own conflict or you see it happening and it's injustice. So that this month is pretty great. All right, that's all I have to say about that. Please decide what your boundaries are this week and practice setting them, and start light and see if you get really good at setting your boundaries. All right, let me check the chat to see if anyone has any prayer requests. Let's go within and just know that right here and right now, we're at the perfect place that we should be. We're right where we're meant to be. On this beautiful day where we celebrate our mothers or anyone who has been in our lives in a way that is nurturing and supportive. And we celebrate ourselves where we have shown up in someone else's life in a way that has helped them move forward. We brought forth life in some way. We value each other, ourselves, and of course the divine mother, knowing that in her arms we are held. There are so many blessings that surround us, and we bring our minds to those blessings right now. How is the universe holding us? How are we being loved right now? It is always happening, and we are so grateful for that. And so in this moment of awareness and appreciation, I simply bless each and every one of us, and for anyone that has lost their mother, either recently or a while back, my heart goes out to you. May you feel the nurturing presence of your mother. With gratitude and grace, I simply say thank you, Divine. Thank you, Life. I let my prayer just be released into the arms of the Divine Mother. On the wings of angels they fly. And I let it be. And so it is. Amen. Ashe.
Where I am, God is. Where I stand, God is standing strong. Where I breathe, God is breathing life in and out and through me. Ask me where I sing, God is. Where I dance, joy lives in my feet. Where I live, beauty's flowing free, in and out and through me. As me, for where I doubt, God is the faith in me. Where I cry, God is the comfort there. Where I seek, God is the answer. Here and now, forever and ever and ever. Where I speak, truth is. Where I work, love is my career. And where I play, God is playing boldly.
Faith Rivera. Wherever I am, God is.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Reverend Charlene. Great music choices for today, too. All right, now is the time that we bless the donations that you give to CSL Leesburg. There are so many ways to give. You can look at the things that are posted on the screen, but let me tell you what we do with our donations. So we give to our home organization. We're not just CSL Leesburg. There's a home organization, CSL, Center for Spiritual Living. So we tithe to them. We also tithe to organizations that are working to support a world that works for everyone, which is our mission. So we're always on the lookout. We just recently made one. We do that every quarter. So as we say in our opening video, the law of circulation, as we give, so shall we receive. We receive. We can do what we do on Sundays because of your donations. And also we make sure that it's always moving, that money is always flowing. So no matter how you are giving, please take that. Might be just in your thoughts. It might be physical. It's up to you, whatever works. And let's do our blessing of our gifts. The presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And so it is. All right, announcements. I feel like there should be a drum roll for this. So there's a visioning workshop by our dear, wonderful guest speaker, Melinda Jacobs, and it will be on Sunday, June 8th, after our service. So mark your calendars. It will be from 1 to 3 Eastern Standard Time. The cost of this is $44, with 30% of the proceeds coming right back to us at CSL Leesburg. So you can register now, space is limited. You can use the QR code, or you can go to our website and just click on workshops, and then you know that you can join us for this visioning workshop with Reverend Melinda. I know it's going to be wonderful. Also, there is a fundraiser that's happening now. Do you know Renee S? If you don't, you're going to want to meet her. So Renee is a wonderful member of our community, and she also has a very wonderful gift. I've done this with her twice. I look forward to doing it again. And she is offering Akshayic, is that how I say it, Charlene? Readings, where she goes into our records, and she can see these, and she can give you insight about who are the people in your life that are guiding you from past ancestors or loved ones, and what are the messages that they had to come and share with you, and how are you doing with your current life? What direction, what guidance, what insight can she give you? It's wonderful, it's insightful, it's inspirational, and I highly, highly recommend it. The cost for the service is only $100, and it's for 1 hour. That's where I got the one from. And it's for a 1 hour session. And again, 30% of the proceeds are coming right back to CSL Leesburg. So you can see on our screen how to contact Renee. Cannot recommend this enough. It's wonderful. All right. And the gift of song. All these things are happening. So the wonderful Dan Johnson of Soul Pajamas, who you see on a regular basis here at CSL Leesburg, he is willing to give the gift of song for yourself, for someone you love. Oh my gosh, if you haven't done the Mother's Day shopping, this would be a fabulous idea. Or anyone that you think would enjoy having a song for them. So you can contact Dan, and you can see his email address, and he is also going to make a donation to CSL Leesburg. Yeah, not just Mother's Day, but we got Father's Day coming up. Graduations are happening, or maybe you just know someone who needs a little pick-me-up, and he will work with you and create an original song. The price is only $150. And again, 30% comes back to CSL Leesburg. So all these incredible fundraising opportunities that we have going on right now. Also, we can't forget about Dream Study. Dream Study is on alternating Saturdays at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Join Charlene and her friends. The next one will be next Saturday, May 17th. You can join them as they explore their dreams. They help interpret dreams if you're having a little difficulty. We talked about getting guidance from our ancestors, from the divine. There's always all kinds of amazing messages that are coming to us in our dreams. And this is a fun way to get to know people at CSL Leesburg and others and explore your dreams. All right.
There's one more.
One more. So change your thinking, change your life. What a wonderful, wonderful class this is, and it's coming up. It is a 6-week journey, and you can register again on our CSL website. And oh, Charlene, you're gonna have to help my little eyes. I see tiny print. Do we have a date when this is starting? Yes, indeed you do. So we're starting starting on May 21st, and it will be on Wednesday nights. It will run from 6 to 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. The cost of this is $225. It'll be via Zoom, so everybody can just join from the comfort of their home. And this is a wonderful place if you've taken a class before with CSL, or if you're new. It all starts here, guys. Change your thinking, change your life. And there's so much insight that you get from this workshop. Plus, again, you get to gather and meet people, get to know them on a different level. You know, we only spend a little time together on Sunday mornings here, but when you join the workshops, you really get to know other people, and you get to create stronger bonds and friendships and connections. So all these things are happening. We hope you can join 1, 2, 3, 4, as many as you're able. All right, now it's time for us to sign off. But before we go, I want to remind you about Pearls. So Pearls is what we call our after service coffee hour, if I can say that. So we just hang out with a little, we catch up with each other. We share what really resonated with you, with the message, the music, the meditation. We talk about how are we setting boundaries, what guidance, what do we want to explore further? Are there questions for Charlene? Or like I said, just hang out and enjoy a little bit more company. We know that today might be a busy day filled with activities. So if you have to leave, we understand. But before you go, let's sign you off with our affirmation, our closing affirmation. Are you ready? You can unmute because you know I love to hear your voices. So join me in saying, I am love.
I am love.
Nice. And the next one, think of somebody that you would like to send this message to. It could be somebody who's in the room with you, a friend, family member, a furry companion. It could be somebody who's far, far away, because we know that this is all connected. So here we go. You ready? You are love.
You are love.
Beautiful. And now put your hands up in the air for what we call love sprinkles. You ready? Good bit. Final reminder. It's all love.
It's all love.
Beautiful. All right. If you can stay, please stay. And if you can't, know that we send you off, and we'll see you next week.